And welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the second half of December 2023. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this very special edition of ACAP Today, we're going to take you in just a little bit to Northern Maine Community College on location there, where ACAP's annual meeting happened earlier this month. And at ACAP's annual meeting, members of the leadership team and our board chair, Trudy Gorno, delivered a State of the Agency address, sharing updates and happenings and key developments in 2023 and what to look ahead for in 2024. We recorded that presentation for you and will air it in lieu of our feature interview on this month's edition of ACAP Today, or this second half of December edition of ACAP Today. Wishing you and your loved ones a happiest of holiday seasons and a happy 2024 just around the corner. But before we get to that special broadcast presentation of that part of ACAP's annual meeting, I am going to first turn, as we do always in the broadcast, to the news and information that you can use again for this, the first half, or second half, I should say, of December 2023. And we begin with the news and information that you can use with this. Consumers for Affordable Healthcare are reminding folks that Maine Care for Children and Youth eligibility guidelines for that have gone up. So your household may not have been eligible for Maine Care in prior years, but maybe this year. You can see the income eligibility guidelines there on your screen for family sizes up to 5 households, and a notation there that about $1,300 in addition to that for each additional member of the household means the eligibility monthly income limits. So as you can see there are new qualification guidelines. You want to go to mymainconnection.gov or call Maine's Consumer Assistance Program at 1-800-965-7476, I should say. Or, as I will share with you in just a little bit, you can contact us here at ACAP, because part of our healthcare navigation program under mymainconnection.gov will help you to determine whether or not your household may be eligible for Maine Care for children and youth, as well as for adults in your household. But we wanted to pass this information along to you. And again, ACAP is a resource to help determine whether you might be income eligible or not for that program if it's not clear from the guidelines here, or you'd like to learn more information. And next, this is a rare available opportunity here after the start of a traditional school year, but we do have Head Start openings available here in Aroostook County in some of our programs. Head Start, of course, as we've shared with you on many ACAP Todays, provides a really comprehensive preschool development program to 3- and 4-year-olds. There's also a complimentary early Head Start program, which provides services to younger children. Our openings right now are specifically in the Head Start program, the traditional Head Start program, and it includes working with income eligible children as well as children with disabilities. And there are some other eligibility guidelines. So if you have 3- and 4-year-olds in your household, I'd strongly encourage you to reach out to us to see if they might be eligible for this really proactive and supported program of Head Start. We work in a positive learning environment through a variety of services while promoting school readiness to help the child ensure they are school ready for kindergarten when that time comes. Now, for more information, you can call us at 764-3721. It's extension 224. Or best way to get started is to complete an application on the Early Care and Education page of the ACAP website. And you can certainly indicate that you'd like to determine eligibility for Head Start. Although, as I indicated, we do have other programs here within the agency, including traditional childcare. We have more of a waiting list for that program, but certainly are encouraging folks who might be interested in Head Start to apply now, or if you're looking at having a child in the future and want to get an application started early, please consider doing that as well. Now, coverme.gov, I mentioned that just a moment ago. That's affordable health coverage for Mainers. This is not solely and uniquely focused on Maine Care, but this is focused on private insurance that is available at a discounted rate based upon income eligibility, including ACAP can determine or help determine whether or not it is worth completing an application for Maine Care because of what we're seeing as we're workshopping this with you. Now, enrollment for 2024 coverage is now open. It will be open until the 15th of January. I can tell you, however, if you're looking for coverage to start on the 1st of January, that deadline has eclipsed. That was Friday, December 15th. They are still enrolling within the next month for eligibility to start in coverme.gov as of February 1st, but open enrollment will close on January 15th. Thereafter, folks who want to apply need to have a qualifying life event, and you can see more information on coverme.gov as it relates to that, or you can connect with us. We have navigators who can help you with coverme.gov. But if you have questions regarding your current coverage under coverme.gov, we can answer those as well. Or need assistance with enrolling, please contact us at 764-3721 or email us at info@acap-me.org, and we will get back to you about coverme.gov options and how we can help you navigate that site and that information. Now, we did share this with you earlier, but to celebrate the 1-year Power Match anniversary, that's the program in partnership with Versant Power and the 3 community action agencies that serve the northeasternmost part of the state of Maine, including ACAP. Versant Power is planning on donating $24 for every customer who signs up for paperless billing. So if you're receiving your billing in the mail now and would like to have that all online so you don't have to worry about that clutter coming into your mailbox, you can do that until December 31st, the last day of this year. And if you sign up for paperless billing, either call the Versant Customer Service Center or do that right online, they will make a $25 donation or to the Power Match program for every customer who signs up. Now, the website you want to go to sign up for paperless billing is noted there on your screen. It's bit.ly/paperless-Versant, or you can go to the Versant website and navigate there accordingly. If you've already signed up for paperless billing, we're encouraging folks to consider a small donation instead. Now, Versant, as we've shared before, is matching all donations up to $200,000 to the Power Match Fund. Donations can be made by visiting also acap-me.org, and we will work with Versant to get the match on that. Just indicate in the donation section of our website that you are making a match payment under the Power Match program. All right, moving on now, our homebuyer education class schedule for 2024 has been released. All of the dates for the time being are loaded between January and June. We have, in addition to some of the sessions being dedicated solely to Zoom, whether they're on a Monday or a Saturday, you can see the first one there is on a Monday, January 22nd. That one is via Zoom, but the others all transition to Saturdays in February, March, April, May, and June. And there are 2 of them, February and May, that are in person. We'll be announcing where those will be in person. They might not all be in Presque Isle. We're actually hoping to get some out to other parts of the county. If you are interested in any of these sessions, want to get your name in for an upcoming homebuyer education class, call us 764-3721 or email us at homebuyeredu@acap-me.org. Again, homebuyer education has a number of benefits, including $5,000 for those who successfully complete the course toward the down payment on your home for those who qualify and are eligible for that program. It's again, an 8-hour homebuyer education course. It's taught by industry professionals, including lenders, home inspectors, and real estate agents. And it really, for a less than 8-hour course, actually, it usually ranges a little under 8 hours. But we encourage folks to sign up today or get more information by giving us a call. Now, Home Energy Assistance Program, certainly we are starting. Winter hasn't officially begun yet. It will have officially begun in the context of the time of the airing of this broadcast, but people are worried about how they're going to heat their homes this winter. Folks, don't let pride get in the way. If you are in need of assistance with heating your home this winter, give us a call. The income eligibility guidelines for the Home Energy Assistance Program are there on your screen. We are asking that folks not, suffer this winter by having to keep their heat so low or put on multiple layers or chance freezing their pipes or having to make very difficult decisions like food and prescription drugs versus heating, things of that nature. Give us a call. Our energy program direct line, 768-3053. energy@acap-me.org is the special email address for that. Again, you can see the household income guidelines there on your screen, but there are things that we can look at the possibility of deducting so you can hit that number, including some medical expenses. So do give us a call so that we can schedule you for appointments. We are scheduling into January right now, but certainly any benefit that would go on your fuel vendor account, if it's not expended this season, would be available for you to start the next heating season. Now, we talked about this before as well. This is the Heat Pump Water Incentive Program, Heat Pump Water Heater Incentive Program, I should say. Now, it is not a program that's offered directly through ACAP, but we are making our customers aware of it It's available to qualified low-income households. At least one household member participates in one of the following programs in order to be eligible. So the HEAP program, so it is eligible to our customers participating in HEAP, the SNAP program, the TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, and Main Care. You can see additional information on the program there. Adjusted annual gross income for up to $70,000 for an individual filing a single, head of household or married filing separately, or $100,000 if married filing jointly, or individual filing as qualified widower. So a lot of households in Aroostook County would qualify for that. Go to the Efficiency Maine website at efficiencymaine.com and then navigate around there for the heat pump water heater program to check out more details and information on that program. Now, COVID is coming again, around again this season, and certainly a lot of households have been affected in the weeks leading up to Christmas. So as a result of that, earlier this fall, the federal government opened up the opportunity for households to receive 4 or more free COVID-19 rapid tests that would be delivered directly to your home. If you would like to order your next round of those, or in need of them, or think that you might need them in the coming weeks, go to covidtests.gov. And place your order today. Now, one other program that we've been offering here at ACAP that we're going to continue to offer in 2024 is in partnership with the Vitamin Angels program, where we're able to offer free prenatal vitamins to county women who are either expecting or who are thinking about getting pregnant in the next several months or year or so to ensure that you are at your optimum health. Please do give us a call at 764-3721 or email us at info@acap-me for more information on this program. We would love to get more women enrolled in this program to ensure that their babies have a healthy start coming into the world. Now, the FCC Affordable Connectivity Program is another project that ACAP is helping to connect folks with. It's connecting folks with high-speed internet at discounted costs. And it's also potential available for a discount toward purchase of different hardware to be able to connect to the internet. Go to getinternet.gov or give us a call here at ACAP at 764-3721. We do have team members who can help access the Federal Communication Commission's Affordable Connectivity Program, and we'd be happy to do that with you and members of your household. So give us a call, 207-764-3721. Now, speaking of that program and other programs and services available, we have navigators that can connect you with affordable connectivity, that can connect you with other programs here at ACAP and with partner organizations. We encourage you to call us if you're struggling with any of the items that you're seeing there on your screen, or just really having a difficulty making ends meet at this time. Let us know how we might be able to help. We can let you know what services and programs might be there and help you apply for those benefits. 764-3721 and ask to speak to a navigator. Now, I wanted to spend some time before we go to the context of our annual meeting to share with you some thank yous as we head into the last weeks here of this year of 2023 and prepare to embrace and welcome 2024. First and foremost, at our annual meeting prior to the segment that you're going to see that was videotaped for this month's edition of ACAP today, we honored and recognized and certainly thanked our veteran employees. These are individuals who have worked for ACAP. Of our 200 employees, these are the people who have worked for ACAP for 10 or more years. You are seeing their names on our screen now. They range from Southern Aroostook up to Central Aroostook in terms of folks and folks from the St. John Valley originally who have been working at ACAP for more than 10 years. And so we thank our veteran employees, including those from the Valley and all the way south to Dyer Brook, for their years of service to our agency. In addition to that, we also recognized over the past few weeks here, employees who are celebrating milestone years of service, so 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. We want to recognize our 5-year milestone employees. And for those of you who are in Southern Aroostook and know Lisa Bates and know that she's been affiliated with ACAP for longer than 5 years, this is 5 years in this go around. Lisa previously worked for ACAP from 1980 to 2005, so for 25 years there. So altogether, Lisa has served the agency for 30 years, but most recently for 5 cumulative years. Elena Sear, a Fort Kent native, who is a child development specialist for ACAP, is also being recognized for 5 years to the agency. Kim Dignan, who is a teacher for us in Dyer Brook and who has experienced multiple positions and worked at every one of our locations in Southern Aroostook, including the school in Dyer Brook where she's at now, is celebrating 5 years of service. She moved up here to Aroostook County from Florida 5 years ago and found employment with ACAP, and we're so glad she did. And then Hope Ladd, who originally started with ACAP as a student at the University of Maine at Presque Isle, a social work student, who has joined us now right after her internship 5 years ago and has become a very valuable member of our team, and has held several positions in the coaching related arena, working with families with young children now to individuals with housing insecurity, to a multitude of just immediate navigation services for customers within our agency. So thank you to Lisa, Elena, Kim, and Hope for their 5 years of service. Our 10-year milestone employees include my partner in crime, my right-hand individual here at the agency, our Chief Operating Officer, Jamie Chandler, who, along with other members of our leadership team, really provide the guidance and the leadership for our organization. And I very much thank Jamie. Jamie as well worked for ACAP previous to this most recent 10 years. And we're so grateful to have her on our team and have had her on this team in this tour of duty for 10 years. Wendy Deeves is a teacher for us at our Early Care and Education Center at the Goulville Early Care and Education Center in Presque Isle. Wendy has been with us for 10 years now and has just an infectiously positive personality, and is wonderful with the children that she has in her classroom. Julie Duff is a program associate for us. She has worked over the past 10 years for us between workforce development and more recently specifically for the home energy assistance program. But the really great thing about Julie is she works from a perspective of what can I do to ensure that the client is at the center of our work and connect them with as many services as possible. And Julie is actually serving as a model for where we're taking comprehensive intake moving forward in the future in the work that she does with customers through our Houlton customer service center there on Military Street in Houlton. Raymond Saucier is also a 10-year veteran, but also has served ACAP for more than 10 years and worked for ACAP prior to this most recent 10 years. We're glad he is still with us. Raymond actually retired unofficially and officially last spring and decided to continue to work for ACAP part-time, and we're so glad that he did, and we recognize him for his 10 years of service. Raymond single-handedly got the emergency rental assistance program, the very first iteration of it at the very beginning of the pandemic, up off the ground for us and provided a lot of households, a lot of renters with a lifeline here in Aroostook County when there was no income coming in those initial days of the pandemic when everything shut down. Moving on, our two 15-year milestone employees. Kelly Edgecombe is a community educator, works very closely with our contracted dental firm that Lucy Moore, and our former ACAP employee and now a contracted party with us, who runs her own dental hygiene practice along with her partner Sasha Moore, set up in Fort Kent. I had the opportunity this year to attend their grand opening, but Kelly Edgecombe does a fantastic job helping to assist Lucy and her team, as well as educate and provide education in schools and in communities about the importance of good oral health. Thank you very much, Kelly, for all of your commitment to our agency. Prior to that, she was a medical assistant here. Grace Yu, in addition to celebrating her 15-year milestone with ACAP this year, is also honored to be this year's Marshall Lovell Award recipient for excellence and advocacy for the field of early care and education. Grace is a dedicated early care and education professional for us here at ACAP and is wonderful with children and her colleagues, is a mentor to many of her colleagues, younger colleagues here at the agency who have more recently joined the agency. And we're so pleased to have Grace on our team and all that she brings to the children and families that she serves. So thank you, Kelly and Grace, for your 15 years of service. And then a huge congratulations to our 20+ year milestone employees. They include Lorena Witham, who's been with the agency for 20 years. And for those of you who have had children in a classroom that Lorena Witham has been in, you know what a gem and a treasure she is. She is a peaceful lady who just brings a lot of calm into a classroom, into situations, and children just naturally gravitate toward her because she has such a welcoming and friendly personality. Christine Condon has been with ACAP for 30 years now, and she's held a variety of different positions within the agency, as well as worked across the Central Aroostook County in different locations that ACAP has had over the years. She currently works at our Gouldsville Early Care and Education System, and Christine is a true advocate for children and families. She was a Head Start home visitor when I first joined the agency, was working with families in their homes, and she brings that same passion and commitment back into the classroom. She was in the classroom before she was in that role and has now returned to being in the classroom. But she's done everything from being a bus driver for the agency to obviously working in the classroom. And we certainly appreciate her commitment and dedication and her advocacy for the children in her classroom and for their families. And last, but certainly not least, ACAP's longest tenured employee at 45 years. Think of it, we celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. Pat Good is celebrating 45 years of service with ACAP this year, and we are so pleased to congratulate Pat on that. We're going to be celebrating Pat for some time, and we're so pleased that she is a member of our team and has brought good into making lives better across Aroostook County for the last 45 years, and hopefully many more, Pat. We are so pleased to have you and so fortunate to have you on our team. And when I think about the number of lives that you have touched in your 45 years, it definitely measures in the thousands here in Aroostook County. So thank you so much, Pat. Now, we also want to thank some folks for their service to us in a volunteer capacity. These are 4 members of ACAP's board of directors who have served on our board of directors for a varying number of years, ranging from 1.5 to 6 years from left to right. And they are individuals who are retiring from our board of directors this year. We'll be welcoming some new board directors to take over in their place. Jennifer Smith is an ACAP whole family participant, was a parent that had children in our programs a few years back. And gave back to the agency by serving both on the Parent Policy Council and the ACAP board. And her wisdom and her firsthand knowledge and experience of our work and our ability to connect families with multiple services and to help ensure economic and social mobility and be a partner in that effort as she went on to gain employment first with ACAP and then with other organizations, and saw her family continue to grow and to see greater and greater success. Paul Toll is a member of our private sector board of directors. He will be retiring later in 2024 from his role as president and CEO of Aroostook Partnership. Paul brought a value of information to our ACAP board of directors and always helped us keep our focus on working to get our families and individuals who are of workforce age connected with the workforce, and really brought the perspective of employers across the region to our ACAP board. And we certainly appreciate that. He will continue to do his work for the next few months for Aroostook Partnership, and then his successor, Scott Dion, will take over from there. But we appreciate Paul Toll and all he brought to our board of directors. Patty Perry, many of you may know Patty Perry, who led regionally the Bureau of Labor's career centers here in Aroostook County, the main career centers. Patty from the Holton area, and has been a great member of our board of directors. She landed on our board of directors because she was initially part of a smaller nonprofit organization that supported emergency needs in Aroostook County called Helping Hands for Children and Families, which sort of became part of the title for the Helping Hands Telethon that we do in partnership with WAGM and United Way. But as that organization stopped their primary role and service work and ceased being a 501c3 organization and dissolved as an organization, ACAP picked up that work and ensured that there would be continuity of the intent of that work by bringing some of their board members onto our Aroostook Policy Advisory Council. And it was from the Aroostook Policy Advisory Council that Patty Perry was nominated to serve on the ACAP board, and did so for a few years, and we are grateful for that. And last but certainly not least in this arena is Deacon Al Burley from the Southern Aroostook area, from Holton in particular. And Deacon Al has been on our board for 6 years and has brought so much value to the table. Anybody who knows Deacon Al knows he has a wonderful personality, and he not only talks the talk, he certainly walks the walk. He's been organizing benefit meals around the holidays for people in need in the Holton area for years. And he's also a mobilizer of folks, but he is one of ACAP's biggest cheerleaders, and he has certainly helped connect more than one individual, hundreds, I would say, with ACAP services because of his knowledge of the agency. And he has been such a good friend of this agency and a very much champion and cheerleader of our work and our team. And we thank Deacon Al for the positivity and the upbeat spirit that he brought to our discussions at the ACAP board. So thank you to them. And before we take you to the ACAP meeting, the annual meeting of our board of directors, we next want to share with you, we usually do this at the end, but we're not going to come back at the end of the broadcast. We're just going to end it with the annual meeting highlights of 2023 and look ahead to 2024. We are going to bring you our highlight snapshot. This highlight snapshot is very special to members of the ACAP team. In late March of 2023, we lost a good friend and colleague, one who was on duty doing his work for Aroostook County Action Program. He's probably more widely known as a captain with the Caribou Fire Department. And if you've been in Caribou during this holiday season, the holiday lights are up in his honor. It's the Captain Danny Raymond Light Up the Community Memorial Fund in honor of that Caribou Fire captain, but also our friend and colleague here at ACAP. Danny was our facilities manager. He was actually working at the time that he lost his life in a motor vehicle accident in a late winter, early spring snowstorm, not far from where the Caribou Fire Station is on the way out of Caribou. In heading back to the office here in Presque Isle from having done a quarterly inspection at our Fort Kent office. The ACAP team continues to mourn the loss of our friend. He left a hole on our team, and he left a void in our hearts. And the ACAP team showed up to say we want to help memorialize, remember, and care for our friend and his family and his colleagues, all of whom are missing him. And staff members across the agency donated almost $1,000, and the agency matched up to 500 of that to help purchase lights for the Caribou community in honor of our friend and colleague. This picture was taken by our executive assistant, Gloria Duncan, of the pole with the commemorative plaque honoring ACAP's contributions to the Light Up, the Captain Danny Raymond Light Up the Community Fund. This pole and our sponsored holiday light are in front of the Machias Savings Bank location in Caribou on Bennett Drive. So if you're driving through there, take a look up and see the candy cane on that pole and the marker underneath it that indicates that our ACAP team continues to think of and remember very fondly and miss greatly our colleague, Danny Raymond. And so with that, we'll take a quick moment of silence for our friend and colleague, and then take you over to our ACAP annual meeting at Northern Maine Community College for the 2023 highlights of service and look ahead at 2024. Thank you, Danny. You're still thought of today.
Good afternoon. Whoa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to get started, please. Welcome to the Veteran Employee Luncheon, and we have several employees here with milestones. The veteran employees at ACAP you're the backbone of the agency, not just because you know your jobs well, which you do, but your dedication to the mission of ACAP, your belief in we make life better, and the way you follow through with it. You know the customers, you know your jobs, you know our programs, you know our funding sources and the importance of following through. The reason ACAP gets all these good reviews from Head Start and all these other agencies is that you know and understand what needs to be done, and without you, it just wouldn't happen. So we're here to celebrate you today. And before I turn it over to Jason, I'd like to go around, have everyone stand and just introduce themselves briefly. And we'll start over. They don't like that, Jason. We will start over with Sherry, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sherry Lock, Chief Administrative Officer at ACAP.
Thank you. Megan, we'll go over to your table, please.
I'm Megan Barnes. I'm the Director of Programs here at ACAP.
And I'm a board member. I'm Perry Nelson. I'm the HR manager here at ACAP. Peter Johnson, Sheriff for State County and Woodland.
And Paula, we'll go to your table, please.
Policy. I work at Merced Power and ACAP board member and also the board member. I'm really calling on this person. I'm a little taller. Meeting with him, he's great. Yeah. Where's you? Have that teacher. And I'm Wanda Osgood, the CFO.
Thank you. And we'll go over to your table, Sue.
Hi, everyone. Sue Powers, Director of Strategic Initiatives. Christine LeBlanc, teacher aide. Paul Lockburn, teacher for school collab.
Hi. It's nice to put a face.
I'm David Cullen, the Director of Adult Education in Caribou and the Parliamentarian for the Board.
Thank you. And we'll go over to you, Jamie.
Amy Chandler, I'm the Chief Operating Officer. From Quebec, Oldfield, and I'm for recognition that created content specialist. I'm currently at the authority office.
Thank you. Heidi, we'll do your table, please.
Heidi Raffles, I am the director of the other director of programs, stationed at 771.
I represent AR on.
Thank you. And Gary, we'll do your table.
Gary Sampson, I work with the State Department of Corrections and I'm the board vice chairman.
And Gloria runs the place, you know. And Vicky.
Vicky runs me, Gloria runs the place.
I have one more table and then I'll tell you. Paul, if you would start at your table, please.
Also, just walking by her is free lunch. Board member, representing Ruth. Now, Brody, representing St. Mary's Church, board member.
I never know what she's gonna say.
I thought you'd come up with something. I'm I'm Trudy Gorno, and I'm the board chair, and I teach early Head Start programs at the University of Maine. So I do know some of you here. And I will turn it over to Jason now.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Parent, and I have the pleasure of working with all of these people in the room, whether you're on the board of directors or a team member with us at ACAP. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to work beside you each and every day and to support the great work that we do for the people of Aroostook County. The names listed here on the screen, many of whom are here with us today, and a number of whom, all of whom just introduced themselves, represent a cumulative sum total of 759 years of commitment to this organization, if you add all of this together. I will say there are some folks who are not in the room with us today who are back doing very good work for us, or in some cases, and I will acknowledge this one individual, our longest serving employee, Pat Good, who has been with us for 45 years, is on a cruise. We're not paying for it. Well, just want to make that clear because that would not be a good use of public funds. Wanda would have shot me if I didn't add that little corollary and left you thinking that she was on a cruise on us. But Pat has been the face of ACAP, and if you think about the number of lives she's touched in her 45 years, whether it's been working for our Women, Infant, and Children's program, or early care and education programs, or now at our main customer service center at 771 Main Street here in Presque Isle, it numbers into the thousands. And so we are so pleased to acknowledge Pat, and we will say thank you to her when she returns from her cruise, very well-deserved cruise. And so we wish her the best and are thinking of her today as we sit down to do this. So in addition to acknowledging all of these employees who are celebrating more than 10 years of service with the agency, we have been going around Aroostook County to recognize some of our team members who have been celebrating milestone years of service with the agency as well. I am locked here. And so we want to congratulate our 5-year honorees. We congratulated Lisa Bates at our Holton Center celebration on Monday evening this week. Lisa is celebrating 5 years in this round of employment with ACAP. But if we look at Lisa's cumulative total of service with ACAP, it's actually 30 years. She worked for ACAP for 25 years from 1980 to 2005. Before leaving the agency for a little while, didn't really leave very far. She actually went to work for Madigan Estates. So if you know, in Southern Aroostook County where our Holton office is, it's right there. So she didn't leave the block, but she left us for a period of years, and we're so glad she came back. Elena Sear is our child development specialist working across Aroostook County, joined the agency for 5 years. We'll recognize her later next week at the event at our Gouldville Early Care and Education Center. Kim Dignan is a teacher for us in Dyer Brook and has held various positions across Southern Aroostook in our educational setting, from a bus monitor to a teacher now in our Dyer Brook facility. And Hope Ladd is a coach who came to us as an intern from the University of Maine at Presque Isle and stayed past her internship. And we're so glad that she did that. And she's worked on almost every coaching program that we have in the agency. And is a very valuable team member. She'll be recognized at our Gouldville Early Care and Education Center celebration this week as well. And then some of the folks in the room here, Kelly Edgecombe, a community educator who has held positions in our health office for early care and education and is now an oral health educator with us. And Grace Yu, who you'll all be meeting in a little bit, is a teacher, has been with us for 15 years, works in an early Head Start classroom, and is the recipient of this year's prestigious Marshall Level Award, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And then our 10-year milestone honorees this year, my partner in crime, Jamie Chandler, our Chief Operating Officer. We'll be recognizing her next week at our gathering at 480 Main Street. Wendy Deeves, who is celebrating 10 years as well with us, a teacher at our Early Care and Education Center, and we'll be celebrating her next week. Julie Duff, also here with us today, and has been actually associated with ACAP since she was 4 years old. She was one of the first participants in our Head Start program down in Holton. So thank you, Julie. I didn't mention the year in honor of your youthful appearance. Raymond Saucier is a team member of ours in our housing department, and he actually officially retired in the spring of this year, but has stayed on part-time. And anybody considering retirement, we are very much encouraging that. So keep that in mind. You don't have to completely go when you retire. Thank you, Raymond. And then our 20-year honorees this year, well, our 20-plus year honorees, I should say, Lorena Witham, who you met earlier today, is a teacher at our Louisville Early Care and Education Center. And any child in any classroom of Lorena or any of the early care and education professionals here today is blessed. Christine Condon, who has held positions for us in early care and education from a bus driver all the way to a teacher. She was a Head Start home visitor for a period of time and is marking her 3 decades with the agency this year. Congratulations and thank you, Christine. And then, of course, Pat Good, who I mentioned earlier, celebrating her 45th anniversary of employment with the agency. So let's have a round of applause for these wonderful folks. All right, well, members of our leadership team and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of sharing with you our year in review, our state of the agency address, if you will. So I'll invite them to come up now as we have our board chairperson, Trudy Gorno, who will get us started in the presentation of the agency's year in review. Trudy.
Thank you. Okay, so does this start? We're going to start off going ACAP as a state and national leader. We have Pathways to Excellence, the bronze tier designation. And I'm sure in the future we'll have a higher designation. That's something they keep working for. The launch of the construction and renovation work at Aroostook's first supportive housing complex. And we hope to have people living in that later this in 2024. Mentoring more than a dozen agencies from Maine to Alaska. Jason and his team have traveled all over and they've had Zoom meetings and they've had people traveling here for mentoring. It's been a huge thing to get some of this out and help these other agencies. Staff recognized with statewide honors would be Grace Yu, Beth Menefield, and Connie Mompetit. Did I say that right? Sorry. Grace Yu, the Marshall Level Award for Outstanding Commitment to the Field of Early Care and Education. And Beth Menefield, the State WIC Program Award of Excellence, which is named after ACAP's own late WIC program leader, Donna Kennison. And Connie, a 10-year recognition, a 10-year recognition award as the State Maine Breastfeeding Peer Counselor for WIC. So these are all very important and we're very proud of each and every one. And now, Jason.
Trudy. So Trudy mentioned 3 of our team members who have been recognized for outstanding service in their respective fields over the last year. But really, they are 3 of 200 across Aroostook County who day in and day out come in because they are responding to their calling. If you work at ACAP, it's obviously more than a job. These are individuals, these are human beings who care very much about the condition of our community and care about the vulnerable population amongst us. And so my hat's off to each and every one of our colleagues. We have representation of those colleagues, our more tenured colleagues here in this room, but there are staff members across this organization working each and every day. So it is really the people of ACAP who make that important contact with the people of Aroostook County to live up to our vision statement of "We make life better" here in Aroostook County. So we recognize 3 of them who have been recognized for their excellence in their field in this past year, or just a little bit over a year since we were last gathered here. But we honor all of our staff members today and every day for the work that they do, because they are making the difference here in Aroostook County. What I shared with you earlier, what we were trying to share with you earlier, and the audio wasn't quite there, was the story of Melissa Wilcox and Perik Sousa and their family here in Aroostook County. You can see them on the screen here in the larger photo. I wanted to share their story with you, and since the video, you didn't hear the video sound, I'll sort of narrate a little bit of their story with you. So you may have heard in the last year, we had the honor actually a year ago, December, of having a home gifted to us in a gentleman from Limestone's will. He asked his attorney, who he was working on his last will and testament with, what organization could he donate a house to that would ensure his home would get in the hands of a family in need. At the same time that that was happening, right around that same time, in late 2022, Paris and Melissa's young son, 3-year-old Troy, was diagnosed with leukemia. And so what that required is it required Melissa to leave her employment. Both Paris and Melissa were employed here in Aroostook County. Required her to leave her employer and to go be with him in the hospital in Bangor, where he was receiving inpatient treatment for the very aggressive form of leukemia that he had as a pediatric patient there. While this was all happening, they heard from their landlord that he had sold the property and that they would need to leave their apartment by summertime. So they had a lot going on. It was almost not going to be a Christmas that year. As a matter of fact, they hadn't had time to plan for Christmas at all whatsoever. And through the generosity of one of our many partner businesses who come through for us time in and again, we are able to designate a family or several families in Aroostook County who would otherwise not have a Christmas with a Christmas opportunity. And last year, through the advocacy of our coaching team, the Wilcox Sousa family was selected to have that Christmas. And so there were not going to be any trees under any gifts under the tree. And so Melissa, and there wasn't really going to be a Christmas. So they came together and were fortunate enough to have a Christmas because of people who cared, people here in this room who care. And then as we began the process of working with our team across Aroostook County, specifically here in central Aroostook County, because we knew the home was in Limestone, we were on the hunt to find the family who this could be their forever home. And so the Wilcox family, the Wilcox Sousa family, was one of the families that was recommended. And we began to work with them. They took our home buyer education course. As they were doing the home buyer education course, they began to work with a lender, a local lender in Machias Savings Bank, because although the home was donated to us, our team in housing, it needed some rehabilitation, it needed some upkeep. And so we identified what needed to be done, and through a grant from the Department of Economic and Community Development, so brought state players into this, we were able to rehabilitate the house. And then Paris and Melissa, Melissa in particular, worked with Machias Savings Bank to be able to afford a mortgage payment on the home to be able to build their own credit. And I was pleased to be at the signing along with Melissa when they closed on the property. And we celebrated with them in August, inviting the community over to see the home and to celebrate with them. And Melissa and Paris have been very generous in sharing this story to inspire others. And they're now going to they just spent their first Thanksgiving a few weeks ago in their home, and they're spending their first Christmas in the home. And so we were able to, with the money from the purchase of the sale of the property, we sold it for lower than market value. We're able to pay this forward to another household. And so if the opportunity presents itself again and ACAP is fortunate enough to receive a home, or if we have the opportunity to engage in a project like this again, our intent is to do that. And then we'll be able to help pay it forward to another family. So I asked Melissa to be here with us today. Melissa, thank you so much for you and your family sharing our story. Would you like to start?
I am incredibly humbled by everything. And I truly hope that more families come forward with houses and like, because this is an incredible opportunity and we'd be homeless. Like, I really don't know where we would have been at this point. It's been a wild ride. But with the support and like with everything that all of you do, like this wouldn't have been possible. And thank you all. And I truly hope that more people come forward and donate more houses to you guys and that this becomes a program, that this becomes a thing. Because Aroostook County needs it, as you all know. Like our community needs a lot more like this. And I'm honored to be part of the beginning of it all. And thank you all for everything that you do.
Thank you, Melissa. And if you haven't met their 3-year-old son, Troy, who she's holding there in her arms in the picture, he is just a wonderful he's a special young man, and he's doing better, which is the best news of all. So congratulations on what's about to be your first Christmas in your new home. So that we wanted to bring this story back as sort of a model for us, because it really, I think, identifies how we're able to help families connect pieces. Families who are finding themselves in a hardship through no fault of their own, and are able to work with us collaboratively to be able to look at needs like housing, as well as workforce. We've been, Troy is actively employed here at Northeast Packaging, right nearby here. Paris, yes. No, Troy is actively engaged with our early care and education program, and we're looking forward to welcoming him back into the classroom. Troy is working hard, indeed. So our efforts to mobilize socially and economically families like the Suksas and the Wilcox family has been a really key part of the work that we are proud to do here in Aroostook County, and that collective impact. And our work extends beyond that. It certainly is about workforce and helping folks engage in the workforce and other key areas such as childcare, transportation, and housing right here in Aroostook County. So all of that work happens as a result of the great efforts of 200 people here in Aroostook County. And we're going to talk about how that's going to continue to manifest itself in the coming year, and has through the presentations that are about to come. So as we move forward, we're hoping to continue to lead volunteers like the fine volunteer leaders here in this room, to advance the work of our agency, to be able to work with more Aroostook County families to help them in their pursuits of employment, in their needs with childcare, and as it relates to housing, and with partners in transportation as well. Those key supports have come in our efforts to embrace what we call the whole family and comprehensive service delivery approach. And those have been capably led by many members of our team, including our Chief Operating Officer, who I'm pleased to welcome next to speak more about our comprehensive approach to meeting families and individuals. Jamie Chandler.
Okay. So as Jason said, it's loud, sorry. We spent quite a bit of time really looking at how we as an agency do business. And what I mean by doing business is how we actually go through the practice of engaging with our families and servicing the families and working together as a team. And so over the course of the year, we spent a lot of time building stronger teams, meaning work teams within programs and work teams across programs. And so we've done that through having targeted meetings with certain groups of staff members to come together to talk about and learn about the work that they're doing and figure out ways that we can coordinate together. Also looking at, we did a major revamp of our management team meetings and changed the approach to our management team meetings to be management led, as far as they're the ones that are bringing forward the agenda items. They're the ones that are saying, this is the training that our staff needs. And so that we're able as a leadership team to be able to support our staff and our managers to be able to do the necessary work in order for our customers to meet their outcomes. We've also been working on communication and consistency of communication throughout the agency. And as you all know, communication is not always the easiest thing, but probably the most important thing when you are working to help families achieve their goals. So our teams have been working very closely together to try and work to streamline communication. We have various forms, which some of you as board members and staff members are aware of. We have 10-minute Tuesdays. We have weekly briefings. We have our YouTube channel of ACAP Today, and many, many more forms of communication so that we are trying to meet staff where they're at and how they're able to absorb that information. We have improved our use of technology across the agency. We have all but just, I believe, 4 programs that are now that are not actually using Empower for their data entry system, which is amazing as we've come such a long way in the few years since we've implemented that program. And as a result of that, we are utilizing our data to better drive our decision-making on the programming and how we're going to be delivering programming and ways that we're going to be collaborating across the organization. We also brought on a data analyst position over the last year, and that position has really helped us in being able to pull reports together and helping our management team, who is responsible for pulling some of those reports, to take that off of their plate so that we can really take a look at and drill down into what the data is telling us. And what the data is telling us is really helping us to drive our practices and to help us in tracking progress and to be able to better tell the story of how the different individual services that we're providing on the daily to our families are impacting their outcomes in the future. And then lastly, which I'm so excited about, is our comprehensive intake pilot. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sue Powers, who has really taken the lead on the work that's happened this year.
Thank you, Jamie. So you have been hearing for a while now about comprehensive service delivery and comprehensive intake, and you may have an idea of what that is, and you may go, I'm not really sure what that is. So what it means to us is that we're working across the agency in a holistic way to work with each of our customers individually to meet their individual needs, their individual interests, and to really zone in on what they are looking for outcomes. What are the outcomes that they want, whether that be childcare or assistance with food or workforce. So we're really working individually with people across our programs and across our agency. Our goal with comprehensive intake and comprehensive service delivery is to meet those needs with the fewest amount of contacts, the fewest return visits, and in a manner where people don't feel like they're being handed off from one person to another. We really want to build relationship with people. So building that trust with one person in particular, most likely our navigators and coaches. Building that trust and that relationship really gives people the sense that they can come back. They have a person at ACAP that they can talk to and work with. It does require our team members to be knowledgeable across agency programs and services. So we work with teams, as Jamie talked a little bit about, we work with teams across program and for understanding of what eligibility is, what services are available, so that they can best meet the needs of those people. We as leaders need to work as well across systems and across programs to really figure out how we blend and braid funding, how we work with funding sources to understand the way we deliver services, which is very different in some cases than the way the funding source thought they might want us to deliver the services. But it's a more customer-friendly approach. So in July of 2023, we launched what we're now affectionately calling Comprehensive Intake 1.0. And that was to reach 2 pilot groups. So the first pilot group was families who were coming through our door for return HEAP appointments. And those families would have children who were 5 or under, which we would be able to make an assumption that those families would be eligible for our early care and education programs and our WIC program. As a result of that pilot, and keep in mind, we launched in July. We actually implemented an assessment in August because we realized we needed a different way to measure information. So we're talking about 4 months of data. So we have more to gather, but we have a little bit to work with. During that time frame, we've identified 60 new families that have children that are now accessing WIC services through at least through the application process. And these are families who had previously not accessed WIC, and for one reason or another may have thought they weren't eligible or that there was really not a benefit. So they're hearing different information, getting different information, and making a choice to apply. The second pilot group was working age individuals who were returning for HEAP appointments, who were unemployed or underemployed. So we've collected some great data over the 4 months. We're not exactly sure yet what that data is telling us, but we do have a beginning story. And that beginning story is that about 15% of the individuals who entered in this category, this pilot category, were interested in learning more about our workforce programs. So those people received a referral to a coach and were able to start working with a coach around building workforce skills and search and possible employment and further education. What we also have learned is that there are many reasons why people are not interested in seeking employment. And some of those are places that we need to work with legislators and with policymakers to change rules and regulations that may be standing in our way. So some of those reasons are that people are on disability or they're applying for disability, and the fear that if they go into a workforce program, that they may lose that opportunity. People who are afraid of going over the cliff. And 7% reported outright that they were not interested in working with a coach on workforce. So we'll have more information as we continue through this project when we get more data collected and are able to really analyze it. We are currently working to move on to Comprehensive Intake 2.0. And what we're going to do in this version, this iteration of Comprehensive Intake, is really look at exploring options across the agency to really centralize intake in one place, where customers would be able to access navigation services and have program level intake, as well as some cloud-based applications, main care, SNAP applications, taken care of right in that navigation appointment. What this will do is reduce the number of transitions that our customers have to have as they come into ACAP to access any services. It will require blending and braiding of funding. And as a result, what we have learned is that as we blend and braid funding, we're able to sometimes increase FTEs. So hopefully we will be able to have a navigation team that will be able to address those needs of customers in one place as they come through the door. So our continued goal is excellence in customer service, and most importantly, not just checking boxes for customers, but really having customers experience outcomes.
It's not good. It's very dangerous when I get a mic. So typically I'm loud enough to not use it. So I'm inclined to do that, but I will try. If I yell, just lower me down a little bit. They gave us 2 minutes. I could spend hours talking about what we do, our passion, how we show that every single day. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we have done up to this point and what we're looking forward to going into the new year. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Edgemont, a program we are so proud of. As Jason likes to say, we often are the ones building the flights in the air, which can be challenging because we're creating things that nobody else has done before, or very little experience to live off of. And as you can imagine, that creates its own barriers, but also such an opportunity to feel like, wow, we've done something brand new. We're creating a place for individuals to experiencing homelessness and prioritizing them in a supportive housing unit that is going to provide services on the bottom floor. There's one other entity in the state of Maine that has done this. I was actually in a meeting yesterday with the state who is looking to recreate this very program. And I said, where were you 2 years ago? But nonetheless, I anticipate that this is not the only building that we consider, because this is becoming a new concept that is so needed. The government is hoping to do and help house another 450 individuals with like facilities like this across the state. We have officially surpassed every single document from Maine Housing. We are ready to go. Our application process is going to be coming out in January, and we're going to house 13 individuals with chronic homelessness, with the higher success of staying housed because of that supportive benefit on the bottom of that floor. One of the pieces that we're doing is really focusing on our housing programs as well. Our housing programs, we got a lot of infrastructure bill money coming in. And with that, we're going to be able to keep more seniors in the home, more than we ever have, and about double our weatherization numbers. We are super excited. We are expanding our contractors. So if you know any contractors, here's a plug-in. We'll take them all, please. We need that to do the work, but we're really excited to be able to offer that to the county. It is such a need for individuals to keep their homes safe and warm. The other piece that I want to say is we're looking to expand our workforce services. As always, that's a huge need. We have a goal of creating 20 new partnerships with new businesses this year, and to really ensure they understand how valuable it can be to look at hiring on a work experience person or doing an on-the-job work experience. We really think that that is a huge benefit, not only for us and our consumers, but also the employees that we work with, employers. We just had we're in the process of a Department of Labor federal monitoring. Doesn't that sound like fun? Kathy has been busy for several days, and I have to tell you, one of the things that they're incredibly fascinated with us is us going into the jails. So Peter, good luck, because we're going to probably be expanding on that a little bit. But we've actually had 5 people successfully exit exit Holton and land employment from us going in providing services before they're released. And that's a new thing that we've never been able to do before. So we know it's working. And if we want to stop recidivism rate and help with employment rate, we need to look at serving different populations and breaking that stigma. So that's several of the pieces we're super excited about. It's not easy work. It's not work that is not done without a lot of passion and a lot of teammates that go into this. So I will pass it to the other director of programs to learn a little bit about her area.
So I'm here to talk a little bit about what Jason affectionately calls the other side of the house, where we provide high quality early care and education services. It involves our prevention and wellness programs, including our women, infant, and children programming that without Sue's contribution to this presentation with comprehensive intake services 1.0, WIC was integral in the launch of that approach to working with our current clients as well as any new clients coming into our door. No wrong door approach. Rochelle was a huge part of that. Like Sue had mentioned, it allowed us in a very short amount of time as we're collecting that data to really focus on the fact that we were providing these services to families that may not even have known that they were eligible for these services. Switching over to early care and education, that has been a roller coaster of a ride for 2023. A lot of childcare crisis impacted service delivery, the workforce, turnover rates, moving on to the public school in some cases, supporting staff in professional development is risky business because we want higher quality, but we also risk losing those qualified staff to other, school districts. And we support that because the importance of that is that we're able to grow those professionals in this field because there's not enough people or interest in this field. And we really struggled at the first part of this year. We were able to work with a provider that unfortunately had to close their doors early this summer or later in the summer. And we hired all of her staff. A week after we had to notify some families that we weren't able to continue to provide services because we were critically low with qualified staff. So timing is everything. You can't plan, you can't predict. But what you can do is take those staff and really build them into what this program needs to be able to continue to provide those high quality services throughout the county. Another thing that we've learned is to continue to explore partnerships with our public schools. That's critical in providing those comprehensive services, really working with families around their young children's education so that we build an investment that equates to success. I'm going to switch over to our prevention programming. Prevention programming continues. They had, again, new staff, new leadership, contracts under prevention. We, different requirements, different expectations from funding, exploring opportunities with different schools across the county has allowed us to provide these services further and further throughout our service delivery area. So with that update, I'm going to turn it over to Wanda Osgood.
So since we're running a little bit behind schedule and I like to keep things short, I'm going to go ahead and do that. As my colleagues just mentioned, we've done a lot of really great things, and I'm going to bring down the room by talking about finance for a minute. So in 2023, I'm going to go back a little bit further in 2023. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the pandemic, because in the beginning of the pandemic, we were at about $15 million as an agency. And through the pandemic, we grew to be almost $33 million, which is a pretty significant hike. As the pandemic era funding is starting to dwindle away, through 2023, we landed at about 22 million. And that's where we are again for 2024. So we've had some fundings end through the pandemic era funding going away, but we've been able to, through the work of all my colleagues, maintain and acquire new funding sources to help us do the work that we need to do. So we are running really stable at a good $22 million right now. So that's excellent. If you'd like to add to that. Jason always likes to come in behind me and then fill in all my gaps because I'm not very good at speaking in public. So no, I'm not. So, so some of the challenges that we are experienced, as my colleagues said, were just that funding sources. Some of our funding sources, we go out for a bid, we get it. They say, oh no, that's not how we want you to do the work. Or they're not allowing some of our indirect, or they're requiring match. So we are having some, we have to balance that out a little bit. So that's probably our biggest hurdle that we're working to get through right now as far as finances go. And I'm going to turn it over to my friend Sherry.
Thank you, Wanda. So as a community action agency, we have nearly 200 dedicated team members supporting this work, the work that you heard Jamie, Jason, Heidi, Sue, and Megan talking about, providing those programs and services countywide in 12 plus different locations. As you know, our footprint continues to change, our locations continue to change, but our commitment to the community does not change. Throughout 2023, we have spent a lot of time, a lot of resource on developing and strengthening our workforce. Workforce has been a challenge, not just for us as a community action agency, not just for social service, but across Riverside County. So we have made a a huge effort, a huge investment in what that needs to look like. We have been focusing on our team members and how we can be the best employer to them so that they can then provide those services to the families and individuals in Aroostook County who need it most. Through the support of the board, we have really built some of those efficiencies across our systems and really focused on, again, how to be that better employer so that we can attract and then retain the highest quality staff to deliver. We have built, we have worked a heavy lift in this year on the wage survey. As you all know, the board was an integral part of that, but that was a big focus for us. We wanted to make sure that our salaries, our wages, our benefits were comparable and that we were able to take care of the team members that are providing those services here in Aroostook County. We really focused on employee surveys, which was not just a survey, but then Jason and Carrie did listening sessions throughout Aroostook County to really hear from our team what they needed, what those challenges were, and how, again, we could better support them. We've also, again, with the support of the board, hopefully we'll have your vote later this afternoon, to improve our employee handbook. Again, how can we be that best employer? How can we make things better for our employees, allowing them to do their job? What tools do they need to be able to do that? Some of those pieces of the employee handbook made us take a look at tuition reimbursement. How can we make sure that our staff has that training and how their families are able to thrive because we are able to provide them with that information, that education that they need. So that has been a big part of the work that we have done, right from the recruiting piece. We've made a big investment in the orientation piece. And then how do we continue that throughout their employment? Employees like Pat, our 45-year veteran, how are we ensuring that we are providing her with the tools that she needs as she continues to grow with us as an agency? Throughout 2024, we expect much of the same. The labor market is getting better, but it's still not great. So we need to continue with those investments, and that will continue. But we also have reaffirmed our commitment to the community. So we have a strong team, a dedicated team, a committed team, but we are going to continue to work with partners across Aroostook County to ensure that we're able to deliver those services to the individuals and families we serve. So looking forward as we are post-pandemic, as we're, challenges with funding and what that may look like, but how can we be the best stewards of those dollars to be able to deliver those outcomes here in Aroostook County? So the future is looking very bright for 2024. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jason and Jamie to give you a preview.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you to those team members. I'm just so immensely proud of the work that each and every one of them are doing to help lead our 200 staff members across Aroostook County. So 2024, as Sherry previewed and as other members of our team previewed, is going to be an exciting year for our agency. Later this winter, we will officially open Norman L. Fournier Place, aptly named for the first official CEO to lead the agency after the merger of the St. John Valley Community Action Association and the Central Aroostook Community Action Association back in 1972. Norm took the helm in 1974 as the first newly appointed leader of that co-branded organization, and we're looking forward to celebrating Norm at 1 Edgemont Drive later this winter when we open the facility. Stay tuned for an opening date. We're working with our contractor to figure out when the sprinkler system gets installed and a couple of other details that are holding up the construction today, but we're hoping we're still on track. The other one is I'm so pleased to introduce the coming of the Moose. And that is an official first time you may have heard it, but our upcoming mobile service unit is going to be named the Moose. It's a moose you're going to want to see on the road because it will be coming to communities throughout Aroostook County. The mobile service unit is part of our response to the transportation challenges here in Aroostook County. And it really started in a conversation with folks from the Van Buren Resiliency Group who really approached us and said, we really would like to have ACAP in our community. Can you open up a location in our community? And we recognize that with our limited financial resources and our ability to be able to reach some of those smaller communities, we had been doing that in partnership with town offices and the like. Our HEAT team goes to town offices from Weston to Allagash in some of those smaller communities to take some of those barriers away from folks, but to be able to have and be able to take our programs and services on the road to folks. So the Moose will be launched in 2024. And we'll be bringing services and programs. Our inaugural ride, appropriately so, will go into my hometown of Van Buren, where that concept came from. And we're hoping to have Senator Collins on board because this mobile service unit was funded through congressionally directed spending that was afforded to ACAP in the very first year that congressionally directed spending was renewed.
Yes. And also what will be happening on the Moose is our comprehensive intake process will be in full swing. And so for 2024, as Sue indicated, we will be expanding that project to go beyond those pilot populations to be able to provide those comprehensive services to anyone who walks through our doors, whether it be through the doors of the Moose or through one of our other offices, or if they just call for services and they get one of our receptionists on the phone. So we'll have more information as the process develops for 2024.
Thanks, Jamie. And speaking of that comprehensive process and our facilities, 2024 will have a focus on right-sizing our footprint. As Wanda indicated, when we were expanding our services throughout the pandemic, it required us to have more physical space to be able to deliver services once those came away from being remote and came back into offices. So we did do the purchase of the Edgemont Drive property through a Public Housing Authority grant through Maine Housing in anticipation of the transfer to the supportive housing complex. But as a result of that, we had to rent additional space in Presque Isle for a temporary location for the Hope and Prosperity Resource Center. When it returns to the Norman Fournier Place later this winter, we will be vacating the offices that we're renting at 480 Main Street. We're really trying to tighten our footprint to be able to focus our services directly on our customers and to better support our employees and not to be spending our limited resources on our physical footprint. So we'll be bunking up. There'll be some bunking up in the organization, and we'll be sort of consolidating our services specifically here in Presque Isle. And we continue to look for better ways to serve our customers in Southern Aroostook and in the St. John Valley. We have a really comprehensive service center in Holton, and we're looking at some partnerships with Region 2 and others to be able to even better bring together services under one roof.
And that actually takes us right into the next topic of partnerships. So we really need to be looking at how do we leverage the other resources that we have in the community and how are we working with them? How are we supporting each other to be able to make sure that we are providing the best services to the people of Aroostook County? And so in the coming year, you're going to hear a lot about partnerships. Heidi was talking about partnering with 20 employers. Megan was talking about our public school partnerships through prevention and through early care and education. We'll be doing a lot of that throughout the community. We also have initiatives with AP and arts around workforce transportation initiatives. So we're going to be doing a lot of partnerships in the coming year, and I'm super, super excited about that. Which leads me into the next exciting project, which is our community needs assessment. This is the first time, you may recall, for those of you who have been with ACAP for a while, the last round of community needs assessment, we partnered with all of the CAP agencies across Maine to do one assessment. We have actually, for this next round, partnered with the health systems. So we are partners in the Maine State Community Health Needs Assessment. This is the first of its kind for CAP agencies and health systems to come together to pool our resources. There have been a few growing pains throughout our journey, but I am excited to say that I believe, have a vendor. I cannot disclose at this point because we're doing contract negotiations, but we should be able to let you all know soon who that vendor is. And we will be working in 2024 to be conducting our focus groups, community surveys, interviews, and we'll start the process of our strategic plan again. So again, with the theme of partnerships at the core and at the center, we're really trying to pool our resources and do the best with the limited resources that we have to best meet the needs of our customers.
And Jamie is being modest on that. She is the statewide leader without whom I do not think that we would be looking at a shared community health needs assessment with the hospital system. She took her knowledge from her prior work in a healthcare system and her knowledge of work here at ACAP, and actually has been asked to speak nationally on the work that we're doing with the hospitals. So thank you for your leadership statewide with that, Jamie. As Jamie pointed out, we have partnerships with a number of organizations. We're currently engaged in one with the Aroostook Partnership. Paul Toll, our board member here, has been a great partner, where we're doing an assessment right now of those major areas that we talked about and all of the activity that's happening around the childcare, housing, and transportation arenas. We really need to get a good assessment and a handle of what's happening in each of those arenas to see where the holes are, but also to take a moment to celebrate the success and the innovation that is happening in Aroostook County, because it's happening in small pockets in all kinds of places in the county. And our ability to do that and to get a better handle around that will benefit the entire county community. Our early care and education team will be taking the lead on hosting a symposium up here in Aroostook County for early care and education professionals to help hone that craft and to sort of get a better feel as to where that career path is headed. In addition to that, we're working again with the Aroostook Partnership on a housing summit in the spring of this year as well. So we're very happy about that. At the same time, we'll be looking at continued education and advocacy with partners on how to better serve the most vulnerable community members around us, and looking at making continued decisions that help to encourage the economic and social mobility of the individuals that we serve, and including those communications, education, and critical conversations with policymakers and leaders like our two board members, Senator Trey Stewart and Senator Troy Jackson, who have been very generous in their time and efforts to advance the work that we do, from childcare to whole family work to employability. So thank you to them.
Right. And of course, we can't do any of that work without the important team members that are both in this room, our employees, and those who are back at the office doing the necessary work to keep the doors open. So we will be focusing in the next year. As you board members are aware and staff are aware, we recently did an employee survey, and we had some listening sessions, and there was a lot of great feedback about how we can better support our staff so that they can do the necessary work and the important work. And so we will be focusing in the coming year on working on the initiatives to help improve communication in this world of virtual meetings and people not being in the same place. How do we team and work together when we may not be within the same space? And so we'll be doing a lot of work in the coming year to help support that, so that and focus on training and professional development so that our staff have everything that they need in their tool bag so that they can best meet the needs of our customers that we're serving.
You, Jamie. And so with that, we mentioned the value of the human resource, and a human resource that we greatly value within our organization is our governance body. And those are our board of directors. We have some new members we'll be introducing and electing in just a little bit. But we also have, unfortunately, to say a goodbye to 4 of our own board members, as we have 4 retiring board members this year who have served the agency from 1.5 to 6 years and have delivered great service and have been great voices around our table. And so with that, Jamie, I'm going to invite our board chair, Trudy Gorno, back to the podium to help recognize our 4 outgoing board members. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We're listening to all that. What an incredible agency, the work that they do for all the people of Aroostook. I know you do it, but every time I hear things like this, it's like, wow, I'm so proud to be a small part of it. We have been very fortunate. So before we start our annual meeting, we have 4 outgoing members that we'd like to recognize. We've been very fortunate to have the people and the quality of people willing to give up their time and volunteer. It's a very active board. So they bring a lot to the table. Their wisdom, their perspective, different perspective, the different fields they work in have been particularly helpful. So today has become a tradition in recent years that retiring ACAP board members, each of the volunteers will receive a unique, truly one-of-a-kind piece of artwork, both to thank them for their service and to remind them what ACAP does for the communities. We serve the full continuum from expectant mothers to helping older people stay in their homes warm and safe. So in all our recent history, actually, ACAP has had the honor of having one of our tenured and outstanding early care and education team members honored with the prestigious Marsha Lovell Award. And the award was named for a well-known and accomplished early childhood person who I've lost it, sorry. So I'm going to just skip 2. It is presented annually as a legacy to of the award's namesake. So the tradition of ACAP has been to have artwork commissioned by the recipient's classroom. And this year's Marshall Lovell Award recipient was Grace Wu, and I'd ask her to come up and present the artwork to our outgoing board members. Now, please keep in mind that Grace's class is early Head Start. These are children under 3 years of age, but they do incredible work. Grace was to be honored in Southern Maine along with other award recipients back in October. However, the day it was scheduled was the horrific day in Lewiston, and out of abundance of caution, they were not, she didn't get to go to that. So, but today we would like to have Grace give these to, and Jason, sorry, leave Jason out of it, to present the original artwork. So the first retiring board member we honor was not able to be here today, Jennifer Smith. Jennifer was nominated by the consumer sector from the ACAP Parent Policy Council. And it serves, that serves as an advisory and oversight committee for our early care and education, as required by the Federal Office of Head Start. She joined in 2022, bringing her experience, firsthand experience with Head Start parent policy and with the Head Start program, and was very active participant in ACAP's whole family approach. In fact, Jennifer was among the 2 parents engaged in the whole family initiative to speak about her experience at a roundtable conversation convened by Aroostook County's own U.S. Senator Susan Collins and ACAP board member, Maine Senator Troy Stewart in late August 2020. The event had to be held in the Holton Playground because at the time it was COVID and visitors were not allowed in the centers. But she was able to speak so passionately with Susan Collins and Stewart and a number of other state and federal people that were participating remotely about her family's journey and how she was able to secure employment, more stable housing, and other necessary supports to help her family to be more economically secure. Her younger children were enrolled in the program, and that allowed her to be able to go to work. Jennifer continued to bring the most valuable perspective to her work as a board member over the last 1.5 years. And though she's not here, we're sad to see her go and wanted to be sure to recognize her. And she will get one of these amazing pieces of art. Next to be recognized is board member Paul Cole. Paul is president and CEO of Aroostook Partnership, a private-public partnership here in Aroostook County comprised of many of the region's larger employers and others interested in economic development and growth in our region. ACAP is a member of AP, and our executive director sits on the executive committee of the AP board. Paul will officially be retiring from his leadership role at AP in the first half of 2024, when his successor, Scott Dion, takes the helm. It is in his time as a leader at AP, Paul has been instrumental in mobilizing leaders to address key issues such as population growth, workforce population, supporting key sectors of the Aroostook economy, including one of his passion areas, the forest products economy. His work around utility reform and broadband expansion have also been a key part of his several-year tenure at AP. Paul has served at the ACAP board as a private sector member since November 2020. And throughout their 3 years of faithful service to the board, he's brought much to our discussion, including the very valuable perspective of area employers and unwavering support of the work ACAP does to help Aroostook County residents enter the workforce. Excuse me. Paul, in his role with AP and working collaboratively with our leadership team and board member and bill sponsor, Senator Trey Stewart, helped ensure passage of Senator Stewart's TANF reform bill in 2020 that resulted in the designation of $2 million federal funds passed through the state of Maine that were designated to support whole family initiatives in nonprofits and community action agencies across Maine. Paul, again, working with agency leadership and with Senator Stewart as the bill sponsor, helped shepherd in LD 1995, held over from the last legislative session to the new session to begin in January. That bill will allocate an additional $5 million in TANF funds to support whole family work statewide, helping agencies, including ACAP, move parents and caregivers into educational and workforce pursuits. Paul, we thank you for your service, and please come forward to receive your original artwork. As a thank you for your time and support. Aha. That's a nice outdoorsy design. It sort of fits your whole persona, Paul. My youngest granddaughter's in that class, so some of this artwork may have some of her. Next, we honor Patty Perry, who was unable to be here today. She's no stranger to ACAP's work and spent her professional career as a regional leader with Maine Department of, I'm sorry. She's not here, right? Okay. Whoa. She's had a professional career as a regional leader with the Maine Department of Labor through the state's network of career centers as a key partner with ACAP in helping people across access education and employment opportunities. Patty was not only a vital member in ACAP's workforce development initiatives, but as a community member was a key leader in ensuring community members in crisis had available resources to turn to. Namely, it was Patty's work as a volunteer board member with the nonprofit organization Helping Hands for Children and Families that eventually led her to the seat on the ACAP board in February 2020. When the nonprofit officially discontinued to operate a few years ago, Patty and her then fellow member of the board turned their vital portfolio of work, providing additional fuel and other needed assistance to families over to ACAP. And that is incidentally where the name Helping Hands Telethon originated from, is part of an effort for the legacy of the former program to continue. As part of the handover, Helping Hands board members were offered to join the Aroostook Policy Advisory Council, and the board, which is the group responsible for formally appointing and nominating to the ACAP 4 of the agency's consumer board members. In March 2020, following an unanticipated board consumer sector seat vacancy, Patty was elected to fill the unexpired term, and she's been with us ever since. We thank her for all she's brought to our work, not only in more recent years as a board member, but for her decades as strong community partner in her career. Patty, we thank you for 3.5 years of service and more years of partnership with Aroostook County, and this will be presented to Patty. And last but not least, we recognize the longest serving of our retiring board members, Deacon Al Burley of Holton. Deacon Al is unquestionably the biggest champion and the greatest cheerleader of the work of ACAP. He is an ambassador for our service to the communities and the people we serve, and he regularly connects people to our services. Perhaps of equal importance is what Deacon Al has brought to our board members. He is a positive ray of sunshine who optimistically and enthusiastically uplifts us all with his steadfast support of the work of the board and the staff to help people from one end of Aroostook to the other. So we've all heard Deacon Al introduce himself at our meetings, and he's all when we have new board members coming on, and he's always one to go on with great pride about the engagement with his work with ACAP and what we do. As I said, he's one of our greatest cheerleaders for the work we do, and he has he would also share his pedigree as a former employee of the Catholic Charities, and was quick to note that even though he retired from that job, he was still active in his work as deacon, and the bishop couldn't quite fully get rid of him yet. Deacon Al didn't only talk the talk, but he walked the walk. In his work in Southern Aroostook area, organizing volunteers to serve free holiday meals to those in need of food and company, and other church work and deeds that only those who benefited will ever know about. These are just a few examples of what Deacon Al has done and lived in the ACAP's mission. He embodies it in his daily volunteer work. Since joining the ACAP board in 2017, Deacon Al has been a faithful and regular participant in our board meetings and retreats and other special gatherings. He was among the first of the board members to show up at agency functions, whether it was to drop in and enjoy company of staff at the annual Agency Day staff event, where he would certain to say thank you to the many staff members that he could for their work, or to celebrate the 50th anniversary or the retirement of a team member that he knew. In his 6 years on the board, Deacon Al was reliable, engaged, and the biggest supporter of our team. For that and so much more, Deacon Al, we recognize you and extend our most heartfelt thanks, and you will be missed. But please come forward and accept your artwork.